Hello, this is Bo Tanis, Nikken Royal Diamond from Toronto, Canada. I'd like to welcome you to this important Nikken audio called Silver's a Blast. This was actually done years ago, and I guess you could say we dug this out of the Nikken audio archives, but it's such an important audio with several people who recently win silver at the time of recording. The title of Silver's a Blast actually has two meanings. Number one, it's a blast of activity, like an explosion of contacts, all stemming from a vision and a decision that you want to build a Nikken business. And we've learned from the experience of many successful people that to make that decision to expose Nikken to as many people as possible in a short period of time really pays off in the long run. Silver's a Blast is also a lot of fun. Before we get started, I just want to clear up a couple of things. You'll notice from listening to this that this was done several years ago. People are talking about using audio tapes, cassette tapes. And so when you hear people talking about tools, which are audios, videos, brochures, of course now that means CDs or any kind of audio, online video, any presentation using any tool whatsoever. There are important Nikken events that are referred to on this audio, such as the Diamond event or the Team Diamond event. What that refers to is a large Nikken leadership field event put on by top leaders. It's a training, it's an inspirational event, and attending those, people see a bigger vision and consequently go home and create a lot more activity. So they are important events. Now we have the Royal Alliance. But the key is to attend at least one or two large events. Typically, we have to travel somewhere where there are hundreds or thousands of other consultants, and you learn from the best of the best from around the world. And of course, at least once a year, you want to attend one of the Nikken leadership conventions or the general convention. You'll also hear someone referring to doing a max step or max step demo. Just to clarify what that is, it's just using the Nikken magnetic insoles and doing a demonstration, an energy test, an energy demo, where they stand on the product and you check their resistance. You have them step off and do the test again, and you compare the two. And typically people feel more energy, more strength, more resistance standing on the insole. And so the whole idea is to get people's attention, to create curiosity so they'll want to explore Nikken further. Also on the audio, you're going to hear people talking about silver training, and that's the previous name for humans being more training, or HBM as we call it now. Well, let me define what silver is. Silver is the first leadership level. It's not the beginning, but it's the first leadership level after senior, executive, and bronze. And it's where you earn the maximum commission on anything that you sell or consume, or the maximum override on anything that your team does. You earn the maximum that can be earned at that level. And so you want to get to silver as quickly as possible. Okay, now here's the audio. Listen carefully and enjoy.
Well, good evening, everyone. This call is for your benefit and the benefit of the people who are going to be listening. We are recording this call. The purpose of this call was to interview some of the silver distributors who've just become silver in the last 30 to 60 days. Reason being, I believe that there's a lot of people out there who perhaps are at a point in time in their business where they've had an opportunity to sample some of the products, perhaps even gain some good product insight and some benefits for themselves, and are wondering whether or not they really want to pursue Nikken as a business. Many of you on this line have obviously made that decision. And what we want to do is we want to help the people who are listening to this recording make the decision to go ahead and become silver, which is, for the most part, the building blocks of the Nikken business. All it takes to become Royal Diamond is to become silver and then help a bunch of people get there with you. So what I'm going to ask those of you who are on the line tonight who are the new silvers in the organization, I'm just going to ask you to all, first of all, I'm going to start by asking you to shout your name out, how long you've been silver and where you're calling from, and then what we'll do is we'll start the interview. So let's go ahead, and anyone, go ahead.
Margaret, Indianapolis, Indiana, 1 month.
Irene, Dayton, Ohio, 1 month.
Kim from Ottawa, only a couple days.
Eleanor Kitchener, 1 week.
Markham, Ontario, 2 weeks.
Donna Sudbury, a few days. Marie, Dayton, Ohio, 1 month.
Hi-Ho Silver, Barb, Whitby, Ontario, 3 days.
Mark, Mooresville, Indiana, 1 month.
Garth, Ajax, Ontario, Canada, been silver for 1 month.
Roberta, St. Alphonse, Manitoba, just a few days.
Todd in Indianapolis, Indiana, about 20 days.
Veronica, Ottawa, 1 week.
John Schultz in Ottawa, about 10 days.
Steve, Newmarket, and I've been silver for 9 days.
Okay, excellent. Well, I'm sure there's some people who will be joining us as we proceed on this call. I'm not sure that we'll have an opportunity to hear from every one of you, but I would like to get as many perspectives as possible based on the different questions. I know the first thing it takes to become a silver distributor is making a decision you want to do it. Many of you had made that decision at some point in time. Perhaps what you can share with me, anyone, what was that point in time? What is it that caused you to go ahead and make a decision to become silver?
Garth here. What caused me the decision was actually right after silver training, which was in our first 2 weeks of in the business. What I realized was they said anything was possible, which you've heard before, but actually gave me the tools to get rid of my limiting beliefs. After having a successful business myself for 10 years, I thought I knew it all. When we decided we would do it, it happened, and we went silver 6 weeks after silver training.
6 weeks from making the decision.
Yes.
Anyone else?
This is Margaret. I had been using the product for several months. The distributor ahead of me wanted to go gold, and it was like a team decision, and decided the month of September I would go, and the team made it on the end of the month.
So you made it within 4 weeks of making a decision?
Yes.
Okay, great. Anyone else?
It's Camet, and I was going to say the same thing that Garth did. The silver training was really the clincher for us. Once we decided that it was possible and that we could do it, we did it in about 18 days, 20 days.
Hi, it's Barb. I was a little bit more naive. I had just come into the business, and they told me I could do it. And I did it in probably 4.5, 5 weeks.
Fabulous. Anyone else?
Mike, this is Todd, and our team decided on the 3rd of September, and we turned silver on the 24th, I think, something like that. And that was a team effort from not only our local team, but folks from here to Texas, to Canada, and everywhere in between. And it was a group effort to put it all together.
So you were part of a bigger cause to help your upline advance, which automatically helped you advance.
Right. It was amazing. It was just amazing.
Anyone else?
Hi, yeah, this is Charlotte. And I knew that when Mark and I signed up, we signed up in the middle of July and became distributors. We got our kit. And we just kind of looked at it for a little bit, thinking, well, what do we do now? Taking on another responsibility. Then we said, well, if we're going to do this, we need silver training. And the next silver training near our area happened to be like right then. So it was at the end of July. We went to silver training. Afterwards, we said, well, there's no reason we can't do that, and the 1st of August was going to be like in a few more days, so we said, well, in August, let's just go silver. So we said, well, sure, there's no reason why we can't, so we just kind of sat down, put together our list, got with our upline, started getting together a downline, putting people in place, and we did it, and basically, I would say all in all, the effort really took 6 days, but we did kind of put together a plan first. I mean, it wasn't a haphazard type thing, but we worked with our upline and our downline and set everything in motion and just went for it and did it.
Fantastic.
This is Donna, and I have to say that we had sort of decided we would do it, but until we had a telephone conversation with the team, although we had things in place, we hadn't really put the push on, and then we did it in 2 weeks.
What I'm hearing consistently from everyone here is that once the decision was made, for whatever the reason was, whether the motivation was because coming out of silver training you realized the potential of what it was and the fact that you could be there, or whether it was in an effort to help the team move forward, a cause bigger than that of your own, once the decision was made, becoming silver happened inside of 2 to 6 weeks. That's what I think is critical to the first part of this call, is helping people realize that it begins with a decision, and that consistently, once the decision is made, then becoming silver is incidental within 2 to 4 weeks. And some of you have been in the business for maybe several months prior to that. Was anyone in the business for several months prior to that?
Mm-hmm. I would like to say this. I'm Irene. I registered in November, and I just in June had gone to 2 wellness previews and made a decision to bring guests. And I think it was after I went to Denver, which really gave me a great motivation, and then making the decision the beginning of September. And Mark spent 10 days with Marie and our team, and working with the group that I broke in, like I think it was 5 seniors, 3 executives, a bronze, and Marie and I both went silver. And when I went to silver training on that weekend of the 20th and 21st of September, I came back and used the tools that I learned in silver training with my team, somewhat like a game. It was just like they all wanted to know what the weekend was about. We did some things that we learned in silver training, and then they made a decision in that last week, which was the 23rd and 24th, like in 4 days. It just all started really happening.
The next question for everyone has to do with your work ethic. As you mentioned already, some of you have been involved in the business for some time. Clearly something changed from the moment you made the decision to go ahead and become silver. Something changed in your work ethic.
Yeah.
What exactly was the change? What was different about this month than any other month beforehand? Anyone?
It had to be done no matter what.
Mike, it was really a simple thing. I talked to, and this is what's so important, I found out now, is that my result of what I had to date in my life, which was a result of everything I'd done before. And what I said to my upline, who was successful, I said, I don't want to waste any time. You tell me what to do, and I'll do it. In the back of my mind thinking that they were successful and they would help me there. Also thinking that if it didn't work and I did everything they told me to do, I could actually point the finger at them. So what I found was they said do 100 names and do the 30 personal tape presentations and mail what you mail out to the other 70. Those numbers got a little skewed to how it worked, but I did exactly what they told me and stayed in touch with my upline every day on the phone and with Carolyn and Evan. And they coached me through as I didn't even know what I was doing, but I had faith in the system, and Mike, it just paid off, and it was unbelievable.
Excellent. Anyone else?
That was the same with me. I made the decision to go for it. It took a lot of doing, a lot of traveling, but the minute I let Carolyn know, got the tapes out, and I mailed out 80, went to see 20 people, and it was just fantastic. And it was a commitment to talk to about 5 to 10 people a day almost. It took a lot of time on the phone, but it certainly paid off.
Yeah, Mike, I'd have to say that having gone to the Diamond event in Denver made a tremendous impact on me. I could see how basically anything was possible. And we came back and decided that it was time to work at it and go silver. And once I started getting people into the organization at an executive level, it just seemed more and more within my grasp day by day. I knew it was going to happen.
I would have to say, after we went to Team Diamond in New Jersey, we knew it was going to happen. My upline, Joanne and Richard, they just said, do you want to do it? And I said yes, and we didn't stop until we made it to silver. But it was upline and downline. It was total team effort.
What was different about the work ethic?
When I made the decision, there was no thinking, no, I can't. It was just total, yes, I can. And there was no stopping. Knew it was going to happen.
The one thing I think that we did differently was don't look left, don't look right. Just stay absolutely focused on the end goal. If someone says something negative to you, just walk away from it and stay focused on the one goal, period. Just push and push and push. I mean, we had 5:30 a.m. meetings on the boat because this is the only time this guy would talk to us, and still be out at 12:30 getting home. But it was just all-out massive effort to get it put together, and it just by staying focused on it, and that's all we did for 20 days.
Let me address that a little bit more for anyone, and that is, what exactly is the massive effort? Here I am. I'm a brand new person looking at becoming silver, and I'm hearing stay focused, all-out massive effort. What does that mean in terms of my work ethic? What exactly am I doing every single day?
I'm fairly busy. I'm a custom home builder, and we do very, very large homes. So I'm busy all the time. But when you're in a situation or when you make a decision to go silver, you find gaps in your day that you might otherwise fill with, a trip to the kitchen to get a pop or whatever. And it was just about making a decision. I mean, I wrote it on my computer, and maybe I would work on something I didn't necessarily need to be done right then. I just absolutely focused on one thing and one thing only. And I took all of the little tiny gaps of time and made one more call that day, or made one more this or one more that. And fortunately, I have Duba that pushed like a pit bull on steroids, just pushing to make it happen. So that's what we did.
Okay. Now, I guess the question I'm really asking for is, how many people per day need to be contacted to get this done?
One thing that we noticed is that we just called constantly. Everybody we could think of, we just called, as many people as we possibly could a day, and then we would find reasons to call them back if there was a tidbit of interest, and you just never knew what was going to inspire that person to jump in.
And I think follow-up is absolutely critical. You've got to, like you just said, you've got to get back in touch with them and make them understand that it's important.
Mike, I took a little bit different approach. Being from a sales background, I decided to put on several wellness previews from my house and do the numbers game. Took 3 nights in a row, invited 30 to 40 people, got about 7 or 8 a night, and ended up after that week with 5 distributors. Some people that would have never gone to a one-on-one meeting, though, saw it and saw the presentation and just took off with it.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is a number of one-on-one presentations. I believe a number of audios are circulating, in-home business briefings. I also heard that you invited about 20 or 30, but only 7 showed up, so not everybody you invite is going to show up, but that's okay too. And follow-up is critical. If you had to give me a rule of thumb work ethic, anyone, what would you recommend that I need to do every day as a minimum standard to get it done within a month?
At least 5 phone calls a day.
And see 2 people a day and follow up all those people the next day.
I'd actually say when you're done all of massive action, we also require doing an effective tape presentation. That means do your mag step test, give them the tape, and get out of there in 5 minutes. And don't stay too long, and let that time work for you best by doing that, and then following up with an ABC phone call with your upline. And I know, Barb, you're on the line, and you mag step like 60 people in your month, and you also worked a 70-hour work week, and that was interesting too. It was the silver we broke this month, who's also on the line with us.
Yeah, and you have to do it it's Barb. You have to do it in the first 2 weeks of the month. If you're going for it, you have to make sure that the meg stepping. I did probably between 5 and 10 meg steps and dropped a tape in the first 2 weeks of the month, each and every day, and did the follow-up ABC calls the very next day, and lined up 2 business briefings, or 3, as one other person said, for the second week of the month, towards the end of the second week, because it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for people to go through the process. At least that's what I found. By the time that they'd come to a personal business briefing, been able to experience the product and really understand what they were dealing with and make a commitment, and so that you're getting a firm commitment from people who really truly understand what Nikken's about, it took a bit of time. So I found that was really effective.
Sounds to me like everyone who went silver that month had silver on the brain. That was just about nothing else you were thinking about. Is that correct?
Correct. Right on.
That's correct. Yep.
That's correct. I made a commitment to put the 40 to 50 hours on top of my job because I wanted to do it for the future. I just committed to myself that there was not going to be a social life, there was not going to be anything else but 30 days, because in the long run, this was going to be what was going to help me after this career is done with.
We kind of did the same thing. We did a lot of mag steps. My husband and I both work a lot of hours, and we also have 3 preschoolers. So, there was a lot of things that we just absolutely put on the back burner, saying this is going to pay off. We have to do it. We're committed for this month. We're already out here on the line. We may as well finish it up. But we did a lot of mag steps. We did a lot of that, get in, get out, make it very quick, give them things to think about. And then with us, we were very fortunate that we absolutely kind of targeted people, and also were able to place large product orders. We're getting like $3,000 and $4,000 orders each of these people, because we knew that a lot of them had kids with ADHD, and we knew how the sleep system could be of benefit to the child and the parent, and we were able to get a lot of volume generated, as well as putting the distributors under us in place.
Well, let's look at that. There's a couple things that were mentioned here. One was regarding time. Many of you were already quite busy, so it wasn't as if all of a sudden you had some time on your hands and you figured, hey, let's go silver. You made the time. Let's talk about that. And let's also talk about how some of you had targeted special people. I noticed that that's a word that came up a couple times.
Evan Owen, our upline, had said to me, it's Garth here, and I said I wanted to be silver, and he said to me, what are you going to give up? I said, some people give up sleep, some people give up social activities, some people give up a little time with their family. The month of silver, you have to give something up. And he was right, and I gave up a few of those things, but I'll never have to give those things up ever again. And in my job that I had before as my regular business, I gave it up month after month, year after year, all that time. So got to give something up. That's what I could tell somebody, but you know what? You're only going to have to do it once for that purpose.
How about targeting people? Anybody find that there were some people who you found were just the right people? Describe that to me.
This is Eleanor. I always looked for somebody who was just like me, somebody that I could relate to, somebody that I knew wanted to work hard, and people that I knew needed something more in life than what they were doing. And just because I could relate to them, it seemed like they related back with me, and it was a fit.
I think what was really important for us was taking our list and narrowing it down to really the key people that we wanted to work with and that we felt we could build a business with. It's amazing how when we contact those people, they actually wanted to be in business with us too, so that made it a lot easier.
Great. Anyone else?
I know that some people that we've talked to did not make silver, but they told me what they were doing is they were targeting millionaires. And I think that was not working for them because, I think that specific population, if they wanted to do something, they would, but they're not in any hurry, whereas I think if you went with people, generally your working class, family-oriented people, they're looking, have that dream, they have the vision, they want to better themselves, they want more family time, and I think that they just made much better prospects.
Now, there's clearly more of those people out there. However, I have, in fact, sponsored 2 millionaires who I found were the most effective distributors when I launched them, because I knew that their motivation wasn't money, it was something else. I learned how to communicate that motivation to them help others. That was the key bullet for them. However, I think something that Kim had mentioned is critical, and that is to target the people who you most want to be with, who you are most aspired to associate with, because it was easier to communicate with them and easier for them to communicate back. How many of you right now are working in business in your silver distributorship with people who you really want to be with?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely me.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's look at another avenue, another aspect. A lot of you said that, you made the decision to do it, but I want to ask this question of you. When did you really believe you could do it?
For me, it was at Team Diamond in New Jersey. Even though I had taken 4 days out of that month, I saw it work. I saw it in action. I saw results, and I knew that I could do it.
And I concur 1,000%. That's exactly what happened to me.
And I think what really helped us believe that we could do it was that our upline believed that we could do it, and that faith in us and confidence really gave us the extra push that we kind of needed, I guess, at certain points during the month. And I was in New Jersey as well, and it was a really powerful event, and I think everybody there felt like they could do just about anything when they left.
Silver training worked, and because they said if you said it, it'll be done, and if you committed it, it'll be done. And at a moment when I doubted it for a second, I snapped myself out of that old paradigm. They said, no, wait a minute, they told me it could be done. I'm kind of like that, and so I said, oh, it'll be done. It didn't happen until the 28th day, and I didn't know where it was coming from, but I said, no, they told me it'll happen if I believe it'll happen, and it did. So silver training was what I needed.
I think silver training and the fact that Mike DiMuccio and Michelle, my sponsor, Michelle Martin, told me it could be done, and we did it.
Definitely the Team Diamond events, it was just awesome. The positive atmosphere, listening to Mike's words of wisdom certainly helped me, and Carolyn definitely always behind me and believing in me, and I just decided, yes, I can do this, and I will.
I think pretty much reflect what everybody else said was going to the silver training was very important, and also we made a commitment along with our upline, and got everyone involved that needed to be involved to make it happen, and really had a belief from day one, just because my wife and I both went together as a team to silver training. We believed in it together. We worked together. We worked with our upline together and made it happen. So I don't think there was a question that it was going to happen or not.
My upline made all the difference in the world, Garth and Gail. But in addition, because I work a really hard number of hours each week in my other job, 70 hours a week, plus in September I have 2 young kids who are going back to school, and then I had committed to going silver, I decided that I wanted to be a model for whoever followed me, and that if I could do it under those kinds of circumstances, then they could do it too, they could duplicate. And so I was absolutely committed to showing that it could be done, even in those kind of conditions.
Did you ever have any doubts during the month that maybe it wasn't going to get done?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I knew better. We weren't supposed to think that way, so I slapped myself pretty quick.
I actually had major doubts the day, because I did not go silver till about 1:30 California time. But my upline just grabbed me by the shirt collar and just dragged me along till I started believing again. And about 9:30, I just kicked into full gear, and we were done by 1:05, I think was the exact time.
Oh, ditto. I think I started the day with 2,000 points on the last day of the month, and ended the day with 20,500.
Wow.
Oh.
I have to say, we kind of made a commitment to do it the first week of the month, and we basically had all the business booked in, and we just believed that it would happen, and it did.
Yeah, we really had it all done in like the first 6 days of August, and then we had another reason for doing that is because we were already scheduled to go on vacation, so we not only wanted to do it and get it done, but we knew that you can go silver. It just takes a month. It's a matter of which month, so we decided to do it our first month, and we did, and we stayed totally focused. I mean, if it took putting signs up in front of us and using our training all around us, and every day we woke up, we looked at little things. They were posted up in the bathroom. They were above the mirrors. They were in our office. They were on our computers, on our phones, but totally stayed focused.
How many of you on the call did it the first month that you joined Nikken?
Kim and Scott.
Margaret in Indianapolis.
Mark and Charlotte.
John in Ottawa.
Barb in Whitby.
Quite a few of you. Excellent. How many of you did it within the first 90 days of you being in Nikken?
Garth Ross.
Margaret Cleese.
How did you overcome the doubt when it hit? I heard a few excellent examples, and one I was really hoping to hear, and that was my upline reached down and just pulled me right out of that. And I know that that is a real critical time, especially for the sponsor, being on top of that situation, knowing just when to reach in and help that person get out of that doubt mode, because it is fatal. How many of you have experienced that? How did you actually personally get out of that doubt situation?
I called my upline, Carolyn, and I said, I have no idea where we're in week 3 of this month, which was an insane week where I was off-site in my business and a major project which is a major capital project for my business, my regular business. And I phoned her, as we did in the middle of week 3 and 18-hour days, 20-hour days in this other job. I said, I have no idea where it's coming from. And she said to me, it's coming. And I said, okay. I stayed in contact with her, and I can't stress that enough. You know, she didn't feel responsibility of answering me and staying in touch with me, but I called her, and she said to me, it's going to happen. I know it. And around the 3rd week, I've witnessed people sort of get that self-doubt kicking in. And your upline just says, no, it'll work. You've done all the work today. You're doing it right. Keep going. And you know what? That was all I needed to hear. I wasn't doubting. I just needed to hear that I wasn't wrong.
For me, again, this is Margaret, Indianapolis. It was the last day I was at my job. Actually, the computer disk had just died, and my presentation for the next morning at 10 o'clock was gone, and I really left it in the upline's hands. I told Brad that I had made all the calls, and I would wait for him to come in, and they said, fine, get your job done, and call us when you get it done, after work. They were off and running, and it just came in all night. The momentum was there. I had built it, but I needed to give it a space.
That's an important word you just said, the momentum.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that because in my experience in being in the business, the majority of volume takes place the second half. In fact, even the last week of the month more precisely, which is why, by the way, many people start to doubt by the third week that it's going to happen because the results just don't seem to be there in terms of volume in the books. But the volume just seems to come rushing in that last week of the month. How many of you experienced that?
All of us.
I did.
With, of course, the exception of the few that had made the decision to get it done before the end of the month.
I do recommend people now set the goal for like the 20th or so.
Mm-hmm. I second that.
Yeah.
That's a very valuable point because as long as you know the month ends on a certain date, you'll take the time necessary to occupy that whole space. However, if you've got a deadline for yourself because you're taking a vacation or whatnot, somewhere mid-month, then you seem to do the work necessary to get it done in that same state of time. So it is a decision to wait not only to go ahead and do it, but by when.
Exactly.
Now, here we are coming in the closing hours or perhaps the closing days of the month. It can be somewhat chaotic, and perhaps this is where the climax of all of that month is taking place, and I know it can be pretty nuts. Share with us a little bit about what those few days or few hours are all about.
And I think the important thing to do is what my upline did to me on the way back from New Jersey, and that is sit down and write down everything you have out, everybody you've contacted, and contact them one more time. If you don't have a no, then contact them. And just because someone doesn't call you back doesn't mean they're not interested. They could have lost the message. They could have done anything. So I think that follow-up was critical, and to do it several days before the actual, for me it was the 30th. So to do it a couple days before that so people had time to respond and I had time to go out and book the sales.
One of the things I think that was very helpful in what we picked up at Team Diamond was just mapping it out and having many, many little bite-sized pieces to put this whole meal together. And it just made it so much easier for us to visualize, gold and platinum and, moving everybody up. If you just sit down, make out your tree, and look at it and say, guys, this isn't rocket science. I'm just helping people one at a time. And that's how you end up where you want to end up. And that was very, very helpful for us.
We need a go silver room. We had one at our house when Barb entered the morning with 2,000 points. And it's a fun thing. Once you've done silver yourself and you've helped your first silver be silver, you relive this experience over again. And since this business is about going silver, we're actually going to get a sign made up above our office in our home. It's called the Go Silver Room. And we had 2 phone lines going with orders to the order desk, and 3 cell phones going with clients, people that we were trying to get a hold of and putting their money in place. And it was absolutely pandemonium, but it was probably the most fun I'd had in a long time. And Barb was there, right in there. And there was other distributors that were not going silver this month that were hanging in there and helping. And when someone's credit card didn't clear, but their check was in our hand, a couple of our distributors said, well, put it on my credit card. They did, and of course, now after the month was complete, all the money's been straightened out. And last minute, we sent someone to someone's home because they just got in from Rosh Hashanah. We needed a social insurance number on the 11th hour, and we'd forgotten to get it with the application. And one of a person we knew that lived almost next door went and plastered their windows and doors with signs to tell them to call us. And that all-out effort speaks volumes of Nikken. It speaks volumes of the people involved. And so I have a gold silver room, and it's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the next one.
There were three things I'd add, and this is Barb who lived through the silver room. One was that my upline had strategy meetings with me right up until the last day and just kind of constantly reviewed. That was important. The upline asked my distributors to do something. It was a hard ask for me to kind of say, listen, do it before the end of the month, but they were willing to go and they asked them. And what was surprising is those people said, of course. Finally, my upline, Garth, who was just on the phone, said, Barb, if you get to 17,000 points, we're going to get creative. We'll get there. And that's what the Go Silver Room's all about.
Okay, well, what I'd like to do is kind of bring it to a boil here with this question. I've got two questions that I want to end the call with, and the first one is why you've got people on the line or people who are listening for the first time, and again, they're contemplating going silver. Their sponsor or upline handed them this tape. What I'd like them to, or you to address for them is why go silver now? Why make the decision to do it right now?
Because if you don't make it now, you'll just put it off.
That's what the business is all about. Getting to silver. Do it. Get it done.
Now, and then you can keep growing.
Just make the decision because it just takes 1 month. It depends on which month you pick, and it may as well be sooner than later.
There's lots of people out there to help, and we can't help sitting at home. We need to get other distributors, get out there to get other people involved. Humans being more.
Going silver is a process, and once you hit silver, you're no longer really focused at yourself and your small organization, but you now are really able to help other people go silver once that pressure's off of you. So get it done and get back and help people, which you're in this business for in the first place.
It shows the people that you're working with that it is possible, and you can actually tell them that it's not as painful and not as hard as they think it might be.
I think that one of the things that nobody's addressed yet is the going silver part, the intangible part that comes with that is to look around and discover people that may not have known you 30 days ago and would walk through fire to help you get there. And to meet people and in 10 days later know that they'll do anything to help you get there, it is just an amazing experience. Someone you've never known, and all of a sudden they're doing anything that they can do to help you. Where the hell else do you find that kind of camaraderie from people that you don't know? It's amazing.
Yep.
Just
absolutely.
amazing.
Okay, last question. Why was it worth it? Why was it worth it going silver to you?
Freedom.
Personal development.
I get to work with the people I want to work with rather than the people I have to work with.
Mm-hmm.
The sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, it's self-achievement, and it's one more step towards the goal.
So when people that sort of brush you off at the beginning, you could send them your first check.
I'll be doing that, that's for sure.
For me, it was the first step to freedom from the JOB.
Well, that sounds like a lot of good reasons. So I'm going to thank you for all being on this call. I think it's been an excellent call, and I hope that the people listening to this really sense your enthusiasm, your excitement, your commitment and dedication to becoming silver for all the reasons we've talked about, and why the fruits of doing it are so worthwhile. Of course, for you, the new silvers, this is just the beginning of your business. But I can tell you as a Royal Diamond that once you get to the Royal Diamond position, then you truly, really understand what it is to say, we're just getting started. For the rest of the Royal Diamonds and the rest of the team of Diamonds and all the Nikken distributors all over North America and the world, we appreciate you and hope that you make the decision to join us at the top. So thanks again and have a great evening, all of you. Thanks for being on the call. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Like any Nikken tool, audio, video, certainly repeated listenings or watchings is very important. And I would suggest to listen to this several times and occasionally from time to time to really get the information. And you want to get your team to do the same. Repeated listenings and repetition is the mother of learning. To summarize and add a few comments, let me go over the basics. First of all, begin by having the correct attitude, which is an upline attitude. It's a self-reliant, it's a responsible attitude that if it's going to happen, I have to do it. If it's to be, it's up to me. And also the attitude of treating it like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, of course, hobbies cost you money, they don't make you money. Treat it like a business, do what has to be done, and be as professional as you can. The basics are, of course, use the products, enjoy them, walk on them, sit on them, sleep on them, be on auto ship. Listen to audios every day while you're traveling, if you're in traffic or driving or anywhere that you can. Call your sponsor daily. Check in. They're not your boss, but they are your partner and they are your mentor and guide. Check in at least once a day. And certainly while you're working on getting to silver and making a focused effort, you definitely want to be talking to them at least once or more per day. And I would also suggest to stay in touch with your other upline leaders, your sponsor's sponsor and their sponsor, the active, successful people who are mentoring you and have already done what you want to do. Stay in touch with them at least once a week. Attend events, of course. You're doing ABCs where you and your sponsor are working together to present to a prospect. You're listening and observing. You're attending events. Hopefully you're hosting at least one or more events in your home per week. If there's a hotel meeting or other people are holding events, you want to attend those, bring your guests. The more you can immerse yourself in the support system of Nikken, the more you learn and the more your belief grows. So stay focused. Contact people, follow up, follow up, follow up. It's easy to contact people. The challenge for people is that they don't follow up nearly enough. And I suggest if you contact someone on Monday, you're following up with them on Tuesday or Wednesday. 24 or 48 hours at the latest. A couple of suggestions in going silver: draw a diagram where you're at the top, and instead of going for the minimum of 20,000 points, make it 30,000 points, and to do it as quickly as possible. So you're drawing a diagram, it's on a large piece of paper or a board on your wall, and you're looking at it every day. You're there, and everybody who joins your team or somewhere in your network, put the name of the new person and their product order, their volume. And as the volume grows, subtract each order from the total. So you start at 30,000, that's your goal, and get that down to 0. And the reason you want to do at least 30,000 points as your goal is that sometimes the unexpected happens. So you want to have the safety cushion of extra volume so that you reach your target at the very minimum. Keep in mind that much of the activity happens in the last week and the last day or two of the month. So if you've introduced lots of people to Nikken in the first 2 weeks of the month, and you're following up with them, and you're sponsoring some of them, and you're helping them to do what you've done, you've got a lot of people getting involved and looking at it. Now is the time to do a lot of ABCs to let your sponsor and upline support team help you in closing the month off. That means helping you to sign people up and to get their orders so that you get the silver volume done. Ideally, at the start, or at some point when you're really ready to go, use the law of large numbers. Those who have built huge organizations put in massive effort and exposed many people. As you heard on this audio, some people contacted dozens and dozens or over 100 people in a short period of time. So large numbers is 1 or 2 or 3 per day or more. We call it AOMA, all-out massive action. It's a focused effort. A key concept to create AOMA is say less to more people. Instead of spending an hour or two just with one person and hoping to convince them about Nikken, why not contact 2, 3, 4, or 5 or more people per day, get them started on exploring Nikken. Do a demo, give them information, share your story, perhaps do a 3-way call, get them started on exploring Nikken. Of course, give everyone an info pack, which may include an audio CD, a DVD, a small brochure, and your business card. But the key is to follow up. Follow up within 24 to 48 hours. Because what you want to do is move people through a process. We call it the sponsoring process. Very seldom will someone be introduced to Nikken and on the first exposure make a major life decision to do it. They'll need to explore it further, get their questions answered, experience the products, come to an event. They want to know that it's real. We call it the sponsoring process. 5 steps, very simply: provide information, audio, video, 3-way call, share your story, perhaps a website. Step 2, product experience. Let them see, feel, and experience the product. Let them taste some of the nutritionals. Step 3, a group event, an in-home or a hotel event where other people provide social proof that this is real and other credible people are involved. Step 4 is to make a decision to become a customer or a business partner as a Nikken consultant. And step 5, which may take a little longer, is for them to attend Humans Being More training. Humans Being More training, or HBM, does not happen every month in most areas. So it may take them several weeks or a couple of months to attend one. But you want to get everyone to attend the HBM as soon as possible where they can really lock into what Nikken is about. As you heard on the audio, silver is just the beginning. So if you've just reached silver, congratulations. Enjoy an hour or 2 off or a weekend off, but then get back to work. The fun of Nikken is doing it. And silver is just the beginning where you have positioned yourself for success to earn the most that can be earned, and now you want to help others to achieve what you've done. Once you've reached silver, you want to become what I call a solid silver, where you have a large organization of many people using the products and at least 4 who in any given month are running for silver just like you did before. So once you reach silver, continue to prospect to find future partners or customers and sponsor at least 2 or 3 or more people per month, every month, every month. As I look back on all the top leaders on my team, they didn't go silver just once. They went silver over and over and over again, many times over the next year. They kept sponsoring, which kept building their team, and ultimately, out of many people, a few serious leaders emerge. And when we say sponsor, of course, we don't mean just sign people up and wait for them to do something. We mean sponsor and activate. Very important concept. Sponsor and activate. Do all you can to get them started. Using the Smart Start Guide and the key steps in there, help them to order products, make the list of names, of course, to discover their why, and to go through those basic steps of preparing and going on the journey. Now, of course, you realize not everyone is ready to go, so you sponsor several people. And if you sponsor 10, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 are going to be business builders. The others may have to think about it, or the timing isn't right, or they just want to be customers, and that's great. Honor people's choices and work with the ones who are ready to go. Once you're silver, every month you want to ask this question of the people on your team. Who's next? Who's ready to go? Who's ready to go silver, gold, and above? If you're a silver and you have just 1 person on your team who's a business builder, that's good, but it's not nearly enough. I'd say keep sponsoring until you have a minimum of 4 people who want to run for silver this month and build a business as soon as possible. So to become a solid silver, keep sponsoring. So if you have at least 4 people who are running and building a business, it's very likely you'll be doing at least 10 or 20,000 points per month. That means you'll be a very well-paid silver. And if you build a network of many solid silvers, you can be making a very high income as a solid silver, gold, platinum, solid platinum, and so on. And finally, are you interested in creating the biggest income you can as fast as possible? How would you like to find several big business builders as soon as possible? You may consider doing what I had done and many other top leaders, which is the 100 and 100. I had contacted about 100 people in 100 days, 1 or 2 a day, sometimes more, sometimes less, where I contacted people, asked them to look at Nikken, did a product demo, left everyone with an info pack, and got a lot of people exposed to Nikken. Out of my 100 contacts in that first 100 days, 35 people came to a meeting, 20 joined me in the business. 15 were customers and people who were just not quite ready, but 5 were business builders, and out of those 5, my business exploded. Look for a new audio called Masters of Momentum that will be coming in the near future, where I interview many of the top achievers and how they've created all-out massive action in big volume and big numbers to launch their business in a big way. And it really paid off. In closing, listen to this audio a few times, really get the information, and I hope to see you on the Nikken Highway.